Hi, everybody. Welcome to day 12 of our gratitude practice. I want to ask you to thank yourself for joining me on this practice. There's so much going on and so much we could be focusing our attention to. But the fact that you are here and tuning in and dropping into yourself and really trying to cultivate this practice of gratitude and give back to yourself is one of the most important things that you can do to heal yourself, to heal others, to heal this world, and to really create this new world that we are moving towards. Before we get into today's gratitude practice, I want to talk a little bit about the concept of pollution, actually. I have the blessing and the abundance of being able to come to my friend's apartment, which is where I am right now. It's a gorgeous space with so much wonderful energy, and she's away. And there's nobody here occupying it for some time, and she just needs somebody to watch her plants every so often. So my husband and I are taking turns coming out of our self-imposed quarantine at our house with our daughter, and giving ourselves some freedom here to be able to do what we need, our own practices, our own work, whatever it is. And I got a great opportunity to take a walk outside in doing so, and it is so beautiful outside. I hope you're having a chance to step outside even just for a little bit. You can keep your distance from people and still enjoy the magic of nature and the earth. It is here in LA, just quite magnificent after the rains. There's clean air, and there's so few people out there that we can enjoy the space, and I'm seeing nature interact with me in a way that I've just never seen before. Animals that are just not scared anymore, and there's a shift going on, and we're all feeling it. And on my walk, it was really interesting because I saw some trash on the street, some fresh trash. And it was a reminder to me that, part of our problem that we face as humanity is this lack of understanding of the effects of pollution. And I don't just mean pollution on the earth. That's what happens on the outside. There's our internal and there's our external. And we manifest our external by what we're doing internally. So we are throwing trash on the streets, and I don't necessarily mean you or me, I just mean in terms of humanity, throwing trash on the streets because there is a pollution that is happening to ourselves. We pollute ourselves with what we put into our body, what we put on our body, what we ingest in terms of food. We pollute ourselves by not giving ourselves proper meals and snacking our way through the day. We pollute ourselves by consuming too much, or maybe too much sugar or too much salt, or not enough fresh vegetables. Of too much processed food. We pollute ourselves by what we put into our mental sphere, watching the news a lot, taking in other people's fears and anxieties versus understanding what is other people's and what is ours. We pollute ourselves with our negative thoughts about who we are and what we believe in ourselves. The fact that we think that we are not infinite beings with limitless potential, but we think instead that we're limited and there's not enough and that we're not worthy. We pollute ourselves with these thoughts. We pollute ourselves every time we look in a mirror and start judging ourselves. We pollute ourselves every time we judge another. These are the various ways that we are manifesting on the outside this concept of pollution and destroying the earth and destroying the very thing we need to survive. So I ask you to take a moment today to just think about the ways that maybe you are polluting yourself, and think about how you can change that so that this time of healing, this time of global awakening, this time of global reset can be something where you are changing the way that you are living, thinking, breathing, acting, and it's something that you can carry forward into the future. So today's practice is gratitude for the people that have really made a difference in our life that perhaps we don't think about all the time. There are so many people who touch our lives on a daily basis, and there are so many people who touch our lives in big ways. And, I'm sure that, many of us think about those people every so often. And there are other people who've made significant impacts on our lives that we don't necessarily think about all the time. And whether they're still on planet Earth or somewhere else, it's important that we really cultivate that gratitude inside of us and remember what they've done to us and for us and how they've impacted and changed our lives, and to send that gratitude, that energy out into the world, out to them so that they feel it. And so it's wonderful to really remember that we are all connected and everybody can feel this love. And the more that we put this love out, the more we put this gratitude out, the more we receive back for ourselves. What we're really doing is purifying ourselves by sharing out what we want, what we need for ourselves. We give away that which we want, and you receive it back in abundance. So think about some people today in your life that made a significant impact on your life. Maybe it's a teacher, maybe it was a grandparent, maybe it was a friend of one of your parents, maybe it was that interaction with somebody on the street who said something to you that totally shifted your perspective and the way you view things. Whoever it is, I'll tell you a story about somebody I just thought of that impacted my life that I haven't thought much about. When I was growing up, I grew up in a lot of, very simply just trauma and abuse, and there was no safety. And, I had a roof, I had clothes, I had food, I had all the things that I needed to survive, and surviving was what I was doing. But I lacked that safety, that comfort, that love. My nervous system was always fried and on stress. And I was having a hard time in school. And it was, partially because there were so many inputs in my life that I didn't have a place to really decompress and to reset and feel whole and feel loved. And, when I would get sick, which was often, we had this wonderful school nurse that everybody called Nursey. She was this really wonderful, sweet, older woman who was just pure compassion and love. And she had her little office, and it had a couple couches, and, everybody loved to go visit Nursey because she was just wonderful. And when I get sick, I would go to Nursey quite a bit. And, I would lie there, and I would just lie there and do nothing. It was just this space for me to not think and not feel and not do anything. I recognize now that this was a place where I was resetting and decompressing and letting go of some of that anxiety. Now, nobody in my school knew what was going on at home. Nobody knew what my life was. Nursey certainly didn't. And I would milk this. I would milk the time that I would spend there. And I was not sick anymore. And I'd still go to Nursey as much as possible. And she never said anything. She never really tried to push me away or push me out. She had compassion for me. She obviously recognized something was happening, whether it was in school or home or whatever. And she never really pushed me to have to explain it, which is, I think, really important for a child, that sometimes they don't have the capacity to explain it. I'm very lucky my daughter does, but I did not at that age. And so she just allowed me to be. And I think it was an essential thing for my survival. And I am so grateful to Nursey for what she did for me by just allowing me to be and milk this need for comfort and love and security in my life. So thank you, thank you, thank you, Nursey. Thank you so much for helping me in one of the most crucial periods of my life. So I invite you today to think of 3 people who've really made a significant impact on your life. Try, if you can, to think about people that you don't normally think about, and send them that thank you, and write it down if you can, because I find that when we write these things down and when we are specific, it really increases that feeling so that we embody it more. So I thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to talking with you again tomorrow. Bye.